Guys, we got a pre-made e-bike review here I'm really excited about. If you're like me, you love the way that this looks. You love this style of bike. I'm a motorcycle guy at heart. I also love cycling, so I love e-bikes, I love bicycles, I love motorcycles. This is a blend of the two. Now obviously this bike is going to be polarizing to some. If you're a cycling purist, you think this is an abomination. But if you're a motorcycle rider, you think this is an abomination. Yeah, abomination. But if you're able to just like kind of think between and you appreciate the styling of this and you're like me, you really do like the way this looks. It's a little bit between a motorcycle and a little bit between an e-bike, or a bicycle I should say. For me personally, I really like the way this looks. This thing is solid. It probably weighs 80 pounds, I'm guessing. It's pretty heavy, but I could lift this. Today's a leg day. That's why I'm able to do that. I'm gonna go over this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rate it on value, performance, ride quality, design, and just overall quality. I'm gonna rate it from 1 to 10. So total score of 50, and I'm gonna say who this bike is for. I'm gonna do a performance test on this. I'm gonna do top speed. I'm gonna do hill climbing, and see how this thing does. So if you're interested in this, and this bike retails for like 1,800 bucks. It's between 17 and 1,800 bucks depending on which model you get. So let's get into this. If you're new to this channel, I'm Johnny Nerd Out. I am a professional e-bike builder, mechanic, repairer, and I just love e-bikes, so I also review bikes as well. If you're interested in building your own e-bike, go to johnnynerdOut.com. I carry all the accessories, components, and help that you're gonna need to turn whatever bike you have or whatever bike you want into a killer e-bike. But however, if you're into somebody who's just like, I just wanna buy the bike that is exactly what I want, such as this, you just can't buy a frame like this cheaply or easily and turn it into a bike like this. So this is a very viable option for a lot of people. And this is a very hot segment. This e-moped style, this is a very hot segment right now. Super 73 has really cornered that market for a very long time, but they are fairly expensive. I don't want to say prices right now, but I know that they go up to 3,000 plus. Kind of depends on your budget and what you're doing. And I know I want to get the elephant out of the room. People are like, you're a professional e-bike builder. You've got a t-shirt with Michael Jordan dunking an ice cream onto an ice cream cone. Yes, that's what e-bike builders wear. We don't have to go into a shop. We don't have to go into a corporate office. We get to wear this. This is how you know I'm a professional e-bike builder, because I wear stupid t-shirts like this. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, let's start at the front of the bike, head to the back. You can see they've got pretty much motorcycle tires. These are supposed to be puncture proof, and I believe it. These are really thick tires. I think they're just 20 inches probably, but these are motorcycle tires. I don't know how hard it would be to source these. Hopefully not very hard, but yeah, these are essentially little tiny motorcycle wheels. It's got a front fender here. This is where it starts to get kind of cool. It's got turn signals up front here, cool little headlight here with the C3Strom. That's the name of this bike. This is the Astro C3Strom. So it's cool. It's got turn signals, headlight with brights, which is kind of cool. And then up here we've got hydraulic disc brakes, which is really nice. And I believe these doesn't say, they look like they might be 180s. Usually these rotors are stamped. Yeah, they're 180s. So these with 180s, and it looks like dual piston hydraulic brakes, which is really nice. They stop very well. They do very good at stopping. It's got a front fork here with compression, so you could adjust the compression, how much you want it to be, how you want it to feel, whether it's hard or soft. And up here in the cockpit, it's very interesting. It's just like a motorcycle. You got your turn signals, you got your horn, you got your headlight, and then you got your gear shifter here. This is kind of unusual. They mounted this upside down. So it's a little backwards, doesn't really affect anything, but it is kind of weird. That was the first thing I noticed was, whoa, this grip shifter's upside down. If it was for me, I'd probably put a trigger shifter on here. I'd probably figure out a way to rig up a 7-speed trigger shifter. It does have a 7-speed. It's Shimano components, Shimano Altus back there, derailleur, with a grip shift up here, which these are kind of cheaper. Trigger shifters are generally more expensive. It's got nice grips. Like they feel premium. They're locking grips, so you don't have to like take the air hose to get them off. They just 3mm, take them off. It's got a grip, half twist grip throttle right here. It's very responsive. And then it's got a really nice display here. I really do like this display. It shows a lot of information. Distance, your speed, average speed, all that stuff, but it shows it in a very nice layout. So going on, the frame here is super solid. It's built like to motorcycle spec, I would say. So I would say this thing will last a very long time. You're not gonna be breaking this frame. Look at how much reinforcement there is. It's just a very nice, solid frame. Here's the battery. This one came with a 52 volt, 20 amp hour battery. I think they did a really good job designing this into the frame. It mounts backwards than it normally would, but this is a 1,000 watt hour battery. So the range is gonna be good depending on how you ride it. You either go fast or you go far with e-bikes, or with anything, with cars, anything with a power source. You either go fast or you go far. So mileage may vary. Figure between 30 and 60 miles, you know, depending on how you're riding it. It's got a massive single chainring up front. This one's like a 52 or something, 54 tooth. And then it's got a 7-speed cassette in the rear. I think it's a 11 by 34, I think is what I saw. Doesn't really matter too much. You're not gonna be pedaling this thing all that much. At 80 pounds, human power, you're adding minimal effort to it. I mean, or minimal addition to it. It's mostly all on the motor, which this is a 750 watt Bafang motor. That's what it's rated at nominally, but this controller is a 35 amp controller. It's a 52 volt battery, so you times that by 35 amps, that's, you know, 58.8. A fully charged battery times 35 is 2,000 watts. I'm not doing the math right now, but yeah, it's like 2,000 watts peak. So this thing, it feels pretty good. And we'll do some performance tests here in a second as soon as I'm finished with this overview, and I'll show you how it performs instead of just talk about it. It's got hydraulic disc brakes in the rear, and it has, this one comes with the rear rack on it. It's a very small rack, but it's better than nothing, and it's a pretty well solid made rack. It also has the full coverage fender on the rear. On the rear, it does have a brake light integrated into the rear here. It kind of like just dovetails off of the seat, and it has turn signals. Very nice. I really like this. It's very impressive. It does have a kickstand here, a rear mounted kickstand. And yeah, and I think the controller is mounted in here, I believe. I didn't take this thing apart, but I believe the controller's in here. That being said, let's go do a performance test. I do all my performance tests the same. I check hill climbing from a dead stop at the worst point, like at the very apex of the hill, just under the throttle, no pedaling, and I just scoot it back further and further until it's able to get up that hill. And then I do top speed test, highest pedal assist level, and I just kind of move the pedal so it thinks that I'm pedaling and see what this will do. So let's go do that now. So you can see hill climb, it almost made it up with just throttle from the very worst spot, which I've yet to test a hub motor that can do that. I just had to move it back about 10 feet and it got up there. And like this motor is actually pretty powerful. I'm not sure if it's because of the power, you know, 2,000 watts, that's a lot of power going to this thing. It could also just be the way that it's wound. I have found that the fat hub motors on fat tires are they're just much better. They're way torqueier. I think because there's just more surface area, there's more, maybe it's the way that it's wound. You know, they have different windings that they either gear it for top speed or low torque, which I think this might be the case with this, but this motor feels very torquey, which is very good. Not quite on the same level as having a mid-drive, but very close. I really like it. This feels solid. It feels powerful. It feels good, which obviously, you know, I'm very biased towards mid-drives. I love my mid-drives, but this one, I don't hate. That's a big saying. With a 52 volt battery, usually you got to find 72 volt systems on hub motors that start performing crazy, like really good. But 52 volt, this thing performs really well. So top speed, the display said 28 miles an hour, but my GPS says 24. So I think it might just be, you know, it might have something to do with the way that the tire sizes are, and you might be able to trick it. Obviously this thing will go faster than 24 miles an hour or even 28. This thing will probably do low 30s, just the way that how much power is going to here. It's definitely software locked to 24, even though the display says 28. So I bet you if you could unlock this. Okay, so there is a display on here that you could mess around with, and it does look like there's also Bluetooth capable. So it looks like they are going to have like a Bluetooth app on this. This could be a really exciting bike at $1,700 starting. Man, this is going to be a really exciting bike. And I'm sure once you unlock it, this thing will probably do, I don't know, 34, 35. Something like that with this amount of power. And again, just messing with the settings, I'm sure it'll go. This bike has still not been released as of when I'm filming this. This is still only on Indiegogo, but they are going to be releasing it soon. So check back. I don't have all the details on this bike just yet, but check out the links below if you want to get more information on it or pre-order or even buy it. This is an interesting bike. Okay, so let's move on to the rating system. Let's go number one with value. For $1,700 or even $1,800, whatever you're buying this for, I think this is an amazing value. For what you're getting, it absolutely is a 10 for value. I mean, man, there's nothing that I would really knock on it. They've got high-end stuff. They put a lot of thought into this. The frame is amazing. The battery capacity is amazing. I wish it had a mid-drive on it, but it's fine as it is right now. It's this might actually be a better setup, because it still is powerful, still going to be great for most people. Value, absolutely 10. Performance, this thing actually did, for hub motor, normally I would be knocking this. It'd be probably getting like a 5 or 6 just on paper, but actually riding it, I'm gonna give this an 8 for performance. Yeah, I wish it came a little bit more unlocked. Okay, so I'm sitting here editing this video and I just wanted to break the fourth wall really quick and let you know that after spending a little bit more time, there is an app, and by a little bit of time I meant 5 seconds. I found out there is an app, downloaded it, and in that app you're able to unlock the controller. You're able to set it at different classes, whether you want to be a class 3, off-road, etc. It also has more detailed information about your bike and your ride and battery health and all that stuff in the app. So the app is actually really helpful, and you could unlock it, and I was able to unlock it and able to reach speeds over 30 miles an hour. Low 30s, probably, I think I hit like 32, 33 miles an hour. It did not affect that low end torque curve though, it's just top speed. It just affects the top speed. So that being said, the bike did get even better by finding out that there's an app that you could unlock it, and it does show you more information. All right, back to the video. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 for performance, because this thing almost got up that hill, and that hill is the Widowmaker, and it almost made it up there. I had to just move it back 10 feet. I'm gonna give it a 9. If it would have got up there, I would have given it a 10. So let's give it a 9 for performance. Design, it's a really good bike. I really like it, and I'm trying to think of anything else that I would add to this. Obviously, this is still the pre-production model. And I wasn't able to totally connect to the Bluetooth, but I'm sure if I could connect to the Bluetooth and I could unlock all the different features of this, you know what, honestly, I still want to give this thing a 10. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I love everything about it. I'm gonna give this a 10. Let's do it. Ride quality. So this is where it gets tricky. Because it's got these fat motorcycle tires, it does kind of behave a little weird. It rides really smooth though. It rides, even going over bumps, and I went over some railroad tracks, it felt really smooth, because this is a nice big cushiony seat. It's got a hardtail back. There's no suspension here, but the front suspension takes up a lot of road noise, and then these big tires take out the rest of it. So for that, I'll give it a 9. Obviously it loses some because of handling, but honestly, that's like not a huge deal. And when you're buying for this, you're probably not trying to buy like for a track bike. So I would say give it a 9 for that. And then the bike quality, the overall quality, I think they did an excellent job. Shimano Altis, it's not the highest end, but it's mid-level. Can't knock it there. It's got these kind of no-name hydraulic brakes. They're not Tektro, they're not Shimano, but they still feel really good. Everything about this bike feels really solid. That's what I really like. I like it when something feels solid. I've done a lot of other bike reviews where it just, they kind of feel, kind of like they cut some corners here and there, and the price is kind of dictates it. This one, man, it's a solid bike. They did there's a lot of internal wiring, routing for like the rear brake cable. This is more of a motorcycle, and for a motorcycle for 1,700 bucks, I mean, obviously it tops out at like 33 miles an hour. You could hot rod this thing and you can make it go a lot faster. You might even be able to get the license plate on this and register it. That's what makes me, that's where I think, I'm like, can I register this thing? It's got turn signals, lights, speedometer, a horn. It's got everything you need to be DOT worthy. It just, I don't even know if it has a VIN number on it or not, but if it has a VIN number, register this bad boy. So who's this bike for? This bike is for me. That's who it's for. If you got an inner hooligan in you and you like just cruising and having fun and being comfortable, and in my opinion, having a stylish bike, this bike is for you. Obviously, if you're a cyclist, you want to go get exercise on this, this is not the bike for you. You're not going to get exercise. Your Q factor is all messed up from sitting on it like this. You know, this is a wide seat, although it's not as wide. Like as the bike that me and my friend Sean made, our E-Moped, our seat was really wide, and that really messes up your Q factor, but this one isn't nearly as bad. There might be enough room for another person back here. Possibly put them on here if they're not too heavy, if they're like a little person. Put them right there. This is going to be in my opinion, I think this is going to be a pretty heavy hitter in the E-Moped segment. Super 73, you guys better look out, because this is an excellent value. So that's who I think this bike is for. Obviously, and I don't know, you might be able to put a lot of miles on this actually. If you outfit this right, you could turn this into your daily driver. You don't need to pedal it. Again, in closing, this is a really cool bike. I'm really happy I was able to test ride this, get my hands on it. I really like it. It's really solid. It's a really good bike. I do recommend this bike. If you're looking for an E-Moped style E-Moto, I don't know what segment this is really called, but this is a great value bike, and it's just fun to ride. Flat out fun to ride. We had my one of my helpers here, my nephew, he was riding this thing, and we were both like, I want to ride it. So it's a cool bike. All right, guys, later.